Hey guys, I'm signed back on. Please let me know if I sound clear. Unfortunately, I have things plugged up, so I can't change location right now, or I'm going to be starting the show way later than I want to start it. But please let me know if, again, if the signal is coming in and out, and also if you can at least see me clearly or hear my voice at least clearly enough to understand what I'm saying and comment back at least. So please let me know, again, if you guys can hear me clearly and see me clearly. Again, I know it's weather issues going on. Right now I can't really change the location that I'm in because I have my music and lighting and stuff set up. I would have to figure out some other type of thing. Okay, Kyle says I'm coming in good now and clear. I don't know what's going on. Thank you guys for letting me know. It's always something when you're doing these type of live broadcasts, dealing with your Wi-Fi things. I actually had a pretty long day today. I will make the announcement as to why my day was kind of long tomorrow. But it's a happy announcement. Again, thank you guys for coming on today, June 27th, 2016. I hope you guys again had a great weekend, that your Mondays was okay. I know everyone on here works, and I know Mondays, as I told you, Tanisha, Mondays can be kind of rough for people. It's always good to wake up and have those positive affirmations going on in your head before you start your day, before you go out into traffic and dealing with people and stuff like that. But I also wanted to tell you guys, I had some people. Well, I noticed that they do come on to the show, but they'll text me or message me afterward their feelings and thoughts. So I do understand some people are intimidated or fearful of being judged, but you know, we're not here for that. We're not here to make fun of anyone or judge anyone based on, you know, how they're feeling. So I do want to encourage people, if you do come on, even if you just say hello to everyone or hello to me, just come on, just, you know, acknowledge yourself, and don't be shy to come on and say what it is you're feeling. Because I've had people actually say great things. I've even had I noticed I've had even up to 30 people on, but only a third or so of the people were actually commenting. So I appreciate you guys who are on now. You're a few of my loyal subscribers and followers and friends as well. So I appreciate the support of you guys that's on now. I do want new people to come on as well, and like I said, not feel fearful that they can't express their feelings as well. So hopefully my signal is okay. This is part 2 of my Scholar Talk number 6 right now. So I'm hoping everything lasts a little while until I get through some of my points. I always have a notebook of information and things that I write down. I go online, I look up things, and then I come on and collide it with my own feelings and thoughts. And tonight's subject is something that I have a lot of experience in, that started from my teens. So my topic tonight is basically, why do good girls like bad boys? And I can also briefly touch on why do nice guys finish last, or do they finish last? And I can even add good girls. I consider myself most of the time a good girl. Some of you might think differently, but I feel, you know, that I am most of the time. So I can even talk about that, and you guys can also add your comments as well, because I'm not able to think of everything. You guys seem to know a lot of stuff, and I appreciate you guys coming on and commenting and saying how you feel. So that's what I'm going to be talking about mostly tonight. Why, you know, the good girls, why are we attracted to these bad boy types? And it's funny because I actually had a guy mention the other day how good guys, how they're attracted to bad girls. So that's another thing. You know, I was focusing on the good girls liking the bad boys, but that's also a good point that he made up. And I've kind of noticed that myself, with trying to transition from dating or liking bad boys and to wanting good guys, noticing that they're attracted to bad girls as well. But I do want to start with this article from the website Elite Daily. They have a lot of great stuff on there. And the first thing that they mentioned was that every woman has her own perception of what a bad boy is. And I don't know if any of you ladies agree on that, or you have your own perception or opinion as well of what you define a bad boy to be, and even the guys as well. They gave an example of Bender from the Breakfast Club, which is very true, and I would even add Danny from Grease. I felt like playing a little bit of Grease, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And also Lem from Soul Food, he's an example of being a bad boy. Kyle says, I think girls like the bad boys because they like that sense of danger that they bring to the table. The only thing about it is that the bad boys always end up breaking their heart. Yeah, they always do, but I'm going to get into that. I actually touched on that just a little bit, but that's very, very true. We like the adventure of it, the risk-taking part of dating a bad boy. But of course, in the end, it just never ends up in our favor. Yes, Tanisha said opposites attract. That's a very good point. Sometimes, I feel that way, and then sometimes I don't feel that way, because from dating myself, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I should be with someone who's complete opposite of me. But then in the same token, I'm like, I need to be with someone that I actually have a lot of similarities to. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to travel, because that's one of the things that I want to do. So sometimes it's like you're trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong. Darnell says bad girls like bad boys, but when it comes to men like me, we get treated like shit, in other words, using us for money. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I'm sure it is from some type of women, but I don't believe that to be true for the majority of women. I do know there are women out here who do want men outside of their money, whether they're, a nice guy or a jerk. It's just, unfortunately, the nice guys tend to, get used for that, because they're, being nice and generous. And like I said, there are some women out here who that is their, their main intention. But those are the type of women I don't want you to be around, Darnell. Okay? So please, if you ever come across a female like that, and I'm going to do another show on this too as well, talking about red flags early on when you first meet someone. So when I do that show, I'm definitely going to have you come on to that, because I think it's something that both men and women need to see. Kyle says one bad apple always spoils the bunch for all the good guys. Fact. Yeah, that's very true. And it actually, believe me, that goes for both men and women, because I've heard men say, guys who have said that, they used to be the jerk or they used to be the nice guy, and now they're not because of that. Adrian says stereotype. Yes, Adrian, what exactly is the stereotype that you're talking about? I know we're talking about different things, so I just want to make sure I'm clear on what it is that you're labeling as a stereotype. One thing I do want to add, along with what you guys are saying, is what is considered, a bad boy, or why females like bad boys. And obviously one of the top reasons is, and someone mentioned it, is risk taking. They're exciting. They bring excitement. They're adventurous. They tend to be very charming, very good looking. And these are all things that not only the article mentioned, but this is what I personally experienced, which is probably partially why I'm in the situation that I'm in myself now, is dealing with these types, like I said, as a teen on up and through my 20s and probably up to 30. So, Adrian says someone who likes trouble. I think what's crazy about that is I actually think there are a number of women who that's what they go out looking for. Someone who is about taking those risks and not having rules, or not following the rules and not conforming to the rest of the rules that everyone else is following. So for some females, I think that's exactly what they want. They want the bad boy type, because they want someone who's going to do that, who's going to go out and do all these crazy things and not feel like they care. They don't care about what anyone else thinks. And I do think there's a certain type of female, particularly sometimes a certain age as well, that finds that attractive. Once you get to a certain point in your life or a certain age, you tend to not want the things that are appealing from a bad boy. Let me see. I do want to add some other things, because this article from Elite Daily, they were actually discussing the struggles that a good girl has to deal with when she decides to date a bad boy. So that's why they were naming these things that I'm mentioning, how charming he is and how adventurous he is. Those are things that good girls find attractive. Also, the fact that he is considered forbidden, you can't really bring him home to your mom or dad. So a lot of females find that attractive, and also the confidence that a lot of supposedly bad boy types have. Javon said, what's the topic? The topic is basically, why do good girls like bad boys? And, do you agree that nice guys or even nice girls finish last? And also you can add if you feel that good guys tend to be attracted to bad girls. So basically we're all dealing in the same boat of, good girl, good guy dating bad girl, bad guy. Mike Middleton says they like the thrill factor we bad boys got going on. Oh, okay. I didn't know you consider yourself a bad boy, but that's good to know. And he says our no fear attitude, women love that. Yeah, that's very true. I must admit to that. Eddie says, but you can't build a future with one. Yeah, that's and that's the crazy thing. As women, somehow we think that we can do that. But that's another one of my points. Us in our mind thinking that once we date this bad boy, we can somehow later transform him into the guy that we can build a future with. And that's something I think that comes with, unfortunately, experience and age. A lot of times, at 18, 19, we're we're fascinated by the bad boy type. And once you get to a certain point, it's no longer fascinating because you are looking for someone to build with. Javon says, because they're idiots, LOL. He says, I'm a good guy and I never finish last. Well, that's good for you, my brother. I'm glad to hear that because I hear a lot of supposedly good guys and nice guys, and I don't want to say supposedly, they really are, good men. I hear a lot of them say that they finish last. They always see their female friends dating these other guys. I've even been told this myself by guy friends that claim that I friend zoned them for an idiot or for a jerk. And I'm just like, no, I didn't. But, obviously in the end, I really did. And I didn't get much out of it. But I'm learning as well from that. Eddie says, same here, good guys for the win. I'm really glad to hear that there are good guys out here winning. Because I do, like I said, I hear a lot of men complain that are good saying that they don't win. They always lose. They always get the female after she's already been with, all these douchebags and stuff in the world. Tremaine says men do it too. Try and change or build a woman up into what you see in her or for her. Yeah, that's very true too. But it's always viewed as, the woman always trying to change the man. But I am noticing that as well, that I do see men think that they can turn, a woman. And I don't want to say the whole into a housewife thing. That's not what, my goal is saying that. I'm not saying that, but thinking that they can, turn a woman into something else. And it can be true. A lot of times a woman, you can't necessarily change her either unless she's willing to change. And the same goes for men. Javon says good men sometimes look at wrong women. Yeah, that's very true. And I think that goes for women as well. Tanisha says some people, because of their upbringing religion, once they get a taste of freedom, they go to the dark side as far as dating a bad boy. Yeah, and that's another thing I always said when I had children. I don't want to have their lives so strict and confined, especially with a daughter, where she feels like, once she gets a certain age, she can finally just break free and she just wants to rebel against me. And the first thing she's going to do is to date a boy who is a rebel. And that's exactly what I don't want. So I kind of want to balance being a parent, being both lenient and strict, because I have seen that. I've seen a lot of religious girls go way on the other side, dating the whole bad boy and, stripping and prostituting and all that stuff just because they didn't have that freedom. As you said, they finally got a taste of freedom. Kyle says good guys always win in because they got the good hearts and they will keep your best interests at heart. Oh, you're gonna make me tear. And yes, Kyle, you are exactly that. So I know you know what you are talking about. Adrian says it must be a bucket list goal to say they tried it. Yeah, I agree as well with that. Okay, let me see what other points I have, because I do have some other good points. Oh, let me see what Tanisha says. Tanisha says I had a strict upbringing, so I can definitely relate to dating bad boys. Yeah, I know you can relate to that as well. But now you definitely learn the difference between dating a bad boy and a good guy. So I'm glad you learned that. Eddie says, but here's the thing, sometimes you have to go through the douchebags to really appreciate a good man, and that's exactly where I am. I had to go through all those crackers and things just to get to where I'm at, and it's the same thing for majority of women. Darnell says bad boys can be completely assholes. Just look at Love and Hip Hop. See, I try not to watch that. I used to watch it, but it was getting to be a little bit too much for me. And it's wild because I was mentioning earlier how some women get to a certain point age and they don't date bad boys. But then, like you said, you watch Love and Hip Hop and you see these grown women in 30s and 40s still, pretending to be, 21 and attracted to these types of guys. Tanisha said, yes, sister girl. Darnell, you ain't never lied. And Kyle, no, I'm not crying. I've done enough of that. So I'm not crying, but I appreciate you, my brother, for being a good guy, as well as you, Darnell, too. Something else I want to bring up as to, why we, date why we date bad boys, of course, is sometimes we feel like we have to rationalize his behavior. And that's something that annoys me because there's not much you can rationalize when a man is out doing all these, crazy things and stuff. We also sometimes, and this is something I'm very guilty of, is trying to fit into his world. Now, I'm the type, I go out here and there and stuff, especially with you guys as well. But sometimes when you're dating a bad boy and you're a good girl, you end up staying out 5 o'clock in the morning when normally that's not something you would do. So a lot of us try to fit into his world. We also feel that you can't get a hold of him. Now that's something you learn over time, but when you're first dating a bad boy, you actually in your mind think that you can somehow get a hold of him. Kyle says, I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy either. I'm the guy. Oh Lord, have mercy. And it's crazy you said that too, because I actually think we all have a mix of both good and bad. We just at different levels of it. Siobhan says, when a female chooses a bad boy over me, I would tell her good luck with that or have fun. And I agree. I feel like you should tell her that because it's something she probably needs to hear. A lot of times as women, we are in denial about things. And I hate to say that because I am a woman, but a number of times we are in denial and we're just sometimes confused beings. Like I said, we always think that we can change a man, get him to come around, that we're different than the other women that he's out talking to or sleeping with or whatever. Darnell said, I just watched it because it's hilarious. Yeah, I can't even find Love and Hip Hop funny anymore now. I mean, I know it's entertainment, but I still stick to my Housewives of Atlanta or Housewives of New Jersey. To me, that's just enough comedy, enough entertainment to watch. Love and Hip Hop somehow, I feel it's going through my brain and it's doing some type of damage to me. Another factor I wanted to bring up is sometimes as good girls, you go through the struggle of molding your preferences to fit his. And sometimes you even go back and forth looking at your own morals, things that you would never do. Somehow you're questioning it. You're looking at right versus wrong. All because, you're around, this bad boy. Some good girls always also have the fear of thinking that this bad boy is judging them. Somehow that it's bad, that they're looked at as being more holier than him. And of course you're probably not, but it's a fear of that. So some females have the fear of that. Eddie says, but we have a different mindset when we are younger. Just like when I was younger, I was dealing with women I had no business dealing with. Yeah, that's very true. Darnell says, Cal, you went Roman Reigns on it. Eddie says, a learning experience. Yeah, everything I feel like is a growing and learning experience, especially growing up. It just hurts, though, because sometimes you go through so many things, and you're just like, you look back even from 10 years ago, and you're like, why did I do that? The science was there. But like I said before, I'm going to do a show on red flags. Are there red flags early on dating someone? Kyle says some females could be confused about who they want to get, the bad boy, then they get treated like dirt by them. Then they end up saying they should have went with a good guy. Of course, that's Kyle. You already know that's every woman basically. We don't learn until we learn. It might take 3, 4, 5, relationships or situationships and things before we actually get that. So another point I wanted to add up from my notes is sometimes as women, good girls, you feel kind of lame when you don't keep up with his lifestyle. You might be dating a bad boy who's out doing drugs, like I said, staying out late at night, doing all these risk-taking type of things, and it's not you, but of course you're trying to keep up with him. And then you also end up realizing that he's dating others, but as I said before, you think that you can change this man, that you're the special one. So, okay, let me see. Let me go up. Dane says the struggle of a good dude. Women want good men after they get treated like shit. Yeah, and I'm sorry to admit, but that is the truth. But that's why I think as a good guy, as a nice guy, you somehow have to have the patience and resilience to deal with us women, because sometimes we do have to go through these certain stages. And I believe men go through their own stages as well, treating women all to the types of way, being assholes and, like I said, douchebags for a number of years before they realize that they want to, have them a good girl. I mentioned earlier that a friend of mine said that sometimes, good guys, they want bad girls as well. So sometimes good girls are pushed to the side, and we're just standing there just waiting, like, okay, I want the house, I want the, the ring, the baby, all these good things, but yet we're pushed to the side, for the gold digger or, the stripper, for example. We're always pushed to the side, and it's like, hey, I can do all those type of things too, if you want, but hey, that's another thing. I don't want to get into that. Mike Middleton says some women like bad boys because they have some bad girl in them. Yeah, I said I think we all have a little bit of both. But he says, but most women, just like a guy who can take charge when necessary, and a man who's versatile. Yeah. Tanisha says, I must say I came a long way from 10 years ago. Yeah, I think we all came a long way from 10 years ago. And Mike, I agree as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we like men who are confident, but not necessarily conceited or cocky. That's cute for just a moment, but in the end, we all want, someone who has that self-assurance. And that's something I was going to mention about what a nice guy needs to have, because that is something that females are attracted to in the bad boy. Not just the fact that he's exciting and thrilling and forbidden and all those things. All that is true, but one of the biggest things is the confidence thing, him being self-assured. And I think as a nice guy, you need to balance that. You need to balance being chivalrous to a woman. I know if I'm out on a date, I like when a man actually gives me a chance to talk and he's listening, but I don't want him to seem like he's being rude to me or he's being obsessed with me. So it's just like having that balance of knowing how to lure the woman in, but not making yourself seem like you're just always just readily available. Sometimes, and unfortunately for men, sometimes being too nice too early can sabotage you and put you into the friend zone and also get you used. Women now can look at you and say, now I can, oh, he likes me so much, now I can just take advantage of him. And you have to have that type of coolness. And that's what women are attracted to bad boys. But that's going to go into my other point, is that, being a bad boy is not something that you should just, continue on and on doing. That's only good for certain women at a certain point, depending on what this woman is looking for. If she's looking for a short-term, casual relationship, yeah, the bad boy is exciting to her. She might not even want you to stay around a long time. That's the type of woman that you're going to attract, an immature type of female. Mature women tend to want a man who's going to be there long-term, who only has her in mind, who doesn't want to date all these women. And he's also stable, he's dependable. We want those type of good traits. So, being a bad boy is only good for a certain time, as I said, and certain women. And depending on what you want as a man, that may or may not come to be one of your advantages in life. As you get older, you're going to be meeting, supposedly, meeting older women, women around your age, and they're not going to want that type of mess. They've already been through it, as me and Tanisha and the other females on here. We've already been through all that, dating the bad boy types. So we no longer want that. We want the guy who's not going to mistreat us, who's not going to be a jerk to us, because we've already experienced that. So we already know what it is that, that we don't want, from a man. And, I realize now, the bad boy type is not the, Mr. Right or Mr. Forever. And right now, at 31, I'll be 32 next year. That's all that I'm looking for. I don't need any more friends or any more play around, pretending to be boyfriend types. I really don't need that. I've already been through it. I can almost spot it immediately in someone, and it's almost laughable now. if a man approaches me and I can tell that, that's what he's all about. But the worst types are the types of guys who know how to charm you and pretend that they want to do something, that they want to be committed to you and things like that, and when they have other intentions. Those are the worst types. Sometimes I appreciate the men who actually are straightforward and come straight up and tell you, that they just want to have sex, or they just want to play, that they don't want much. Instead of the ones who, lead you on and tell you all these different things, tell you what you want to hear, knowing that they don't want the same things that you want. Mike says, I totally agree. That balance is crucial. That's what I mean by being versatile. We men have to learn how and when to cater to our women, and also when to give her space. Yeah, and I do think that's, it's true for both sexes, but definitely, for us women. But again, we do really love, that self-confident man. That even goes back thousands of years. The weak man out hunting and stuff. The women didn't want that. We wanted, the strong man who's able to do. But that's something else. But it just kind of ties in. Females are attracted to men who represent that high testosterone level, basically, that dominance, and also that versatility. So we don't want no little weaklings, over here. And a lot of it has to do with ovulation. Of course, as young women, if you want to get pregnant, quite naturally you want the man who not only is sexually attracted to you, but who represents certain masculine qualities, because you're thinking about your offspring, you're thinking about your genes. Most of the time, most women, they want, the man with muscles, or who's tall and who's handsome, who's smart. They want all these things in their children. So it's like they end up wanting to date a man who's like that. And a lot of times he tends to be, the bad boy type, and not always the good guy. Yeah, Mike says the alpha male, and I must admit that is my my favorite kind of male. And it's just like, in my mind, I'm like, can I find an alpha male who is more good than bad? And a lot of times it's like, a lot of times I feel like I can't. Sometimes I have to sacrifice certain things in order to get the other things. So I'm just like, okay. But Javon says, well, what is considered a strong man differs from woman to woman? Yeah, that's very true. But I'm just saying there's certain masculine, like he said, alpha male qualities that females are attracted to. Like I said, confidence and that dominance, and as he said, versatility, and just representing that masculinity traits. So a lot of those traits that represent masculinity, a lot of females all agree on. I've had these, conversations with women, and even though we all like different types of males, some like, skinny, some like fat, whatever, they still want a man who is assured of himself. Kyle says, I think another reason why females always go for the bad guys is because they think they are great in bed, might end up coming up short. I actually read that somewhere as well. A lot of times it's a misconception that, a bad boy is good in bed. And I can speak from personal experience too, that's not always the case. A lot of times they're full of themselves. They're not even checking to see if you're okay. So, and also they've probably been told that they were so great. In reality, they weren't. So, a lot of women, and I'm guilty of this too, a lot of women swell up men's head by either being quiet or making it seem like they really had some type of great performance when they really didn't. And it ends up messing up you as a woman, and it messes up the next woman that he's with, because now in his mind he thinks, he's the bomb, and he's just tanked or whatever. Javon says, I know when to take charge and I know when to fall back. And he also said he's an alpha and beta male. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. But Cal, it's a shame that these men men's get swollen up like that. And as females, we really need to speak up some more, because like I said, it's not a good thing letting a man think that he's doing something and he ain't doing nothing. So Javon says, F that, keep it 100. Now I'm doing that, or now I just avoid the guy, period. So I've already passed that, which is why I just need to have, one guy relationship, and I pray that, he has it, going on. That he actually pays attention to me as well and listens to me. So everything is about a balance, me listening to him, vice versa, and all that stuff. So and I actually wrote that down. I actually wrote down that we all want someone who who's responsive to our needs. So that includes everything in bed and all of that. Javon said, if I'm whack in bed, tell me, don't set me up for failure. Yeah, but I learned that from myself and from listening to other women. Sometimes we tend to not say anything, or like I said, we'll boost a man's brains up thinking that he was doing something, and it's just it just backfires. So that's something I've definitely learned now, but I didn't pay attention to that as much when I was younger. Mike says we alpha males also attracted to intelligent women that can bring out the bad girl side when necessary. True story. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, I think we all have a little bit of both good and bad. And I think a lot of women, that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to get a bad boy and change him, and yet try to keep him still with that edge in him, still try to keep some of that bad in him. And that's very difficult. A lot of times once a guy is a bad boy, there's not much you can change. You can influence. People say, oh, you got to teach a man this, you got to train him and all that stuff, which is cute, to say. But in the end, a man is not going to change unless he wants to change, not just because you're there, you're doing everything for him, or he calls you his girlfriend and stuff. He has to want to do that himself. And particularly the bad boy types, they're the types that it's very very hard to change. And like I said, females, we tend to take on these bad boy types thinking that we can somehow fix them, because women, as you men know, we're all about nurturing and trying to fix things all the time. Fix a man, make him our project of the year to do. And again, we do it a lot of times because we're trying to be martyrs, and we're just trying to change him, to transform him into something that he's not going to probably ever be, or he's not going to do it in the time frame that you may want him to do it in. And that's something a lot of women, you don't really learn until you've already been through it a lot, trying to get a man to be exactly what you want him to be. You want him to still have some bad in him, but you want him to be good at the same time. A lot of times it's not like that. What we do need is a good man, who's going to be, there for us, and who does have, some excitement and things, in him. And I think that's a lot of it, because I'm the type that I don't like a boring man, so that's probably why I was attracted also to the bad boy type, someone who likes to go, skydiving. That's something I've always wanted to try, by the way. So I'm one of those types. I like the men who like to do those type of things, who's daring entrepreneurs, because they're risk takers, obviously. So that's obviously what I'm, attracted to, the types that like to go out and get what they want, get what's there out there, because that's what I'm trying to do myself as well. Let me see. Terrell says you have to sacrifice nothing. Qualities are oftentimes misconstrued, right? The bad boy is viewed as an aggressor and a protector. The problem is some women who feel the bad boy exudes this dominant, and feel safe around fearless factor, right? They fail to realize that these qualities aren't solely attributed to the person who forces them upon you. You want the qualities of a protector, provider, leader, etc. It's not about bad in him. It's the fact that you recognize as a man and doesn't conduct himself as anything left. Yeah, I very much agree with that. And sometimes I feel like finding those qualities in a man, period, is difficult. Even though I'm sure I'm surrounded by, the protector and the, provider and leader types, which I actually think all of the men on here all represent that. So, and you are right. Sometimes we look at it, we look at it as the bad boy type, when really that should just be viewed as, as the man type, and not, that of a boy, but of a man, a good man. Kyle says sometimes it takes a good girl to bring out the goodness in a boy. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that as well. And again, as I said a few times, I feel like we all have a mix of that. Sometimes you might look at yourself and think you're one or the other, and someone else sees something different. Darnell says simply bad boys think their Mac game on point, but it's all BS. They just chance the same dumb and stupid female with no common sense, bad bitches. Yeah, and I think some men are realizing that too. The mature men, that they don't want to deal with that type, that they do want the good girl. So I do think it's both of us. I think it's both men and women, going through these different stages, thinking that we have to date these certain types of people. Or sometimes I think we all stereotype way too much, though. Like I said, we're all a mix of different things, and then you end up putting someone in a good girl category, or bad girl, bad boy, or good guy, whatever. And we all have a little bit of something in them. So sometimes it's not good necessarily to even classify someone as a bad boy either, or a good girl. And, it has that, effects in that too. Terrell says, you said in a nutshell, you're surrounded by them. They just may not come in the package you feel they should. Yeah, and that's something that I'm learning myself to work on. I love my, Tyrese's of the world. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that's the type of man I am looking for that I might, I don't want to say the word settle down with, but end up, being with long term may not necessarily look like that. So it's something I'm trying to, embrace and things. So I've grown a little bit into that. I still love my dark skinned men. I'm sorry, team dark. Javon says, I don't think men put emphasis on good girl, bad girl. If the head right, he's gonna be there every night. Yeah, I can't really say I agree. It's just something that, I'm aware of from having conversations with you guys, with my male friends. But Javon, is on the same token, I'm pretty sure you still have your preferences, whether you want to be with, the stereotypical, good girl or bad girl. I'm pretty sure you still have your preference, over that. And I'm pretty sure it's most likely a good girl who might have, those bad traits in them, because I consider myself that too. Kyle says team light skin. Damn it, I knew that was coming. I was just waiting for one of the, light skinned men to say something, and I knew it would be Kyle first, because Javon is, team brown. He's not going to hesitate to agree with me on that. Kyle, there's plenty of girls out there who love them. Some keep sweats and, I'll be shores of the world and stuff. Darnell says, bad boys can be good guys. Just look at me, Killer Kyle. Good girls can be bad girls. Just look at you and Tanisha. Now, what you got going on? Put all my business and stuff out like that, Darnell. Javon says, be the best. Yeah, you are. One thing I also want to add, well, actually a few things, as I was mentioning about good guys. I was mentioning that you guys need to learn how to have balance. As I said, women, we like men who are self-assured, but also, talk about myself, I like men who, who surprise me as well, which is, like I said, I can't deal with someone who doesn't like to go out here and there, or, take me out or something here and there as well. So that's something that, men have to learn, and it's individual for every woman. Some women are not like that. What one woman likes, the next might not like at all. So let me see. Joanne says, if you ain't brown, you don't need to be around. That's a good point, Darnell. Don't pay that man, don't. I'm just kidding. Terrell says, be clear what you are physically attracted to is fine. Never settle. There is someone with the look and qualities. You can have your Tyrese with the mindset of a Jesse Williams. It's energy queen. Yeah, thank you for saying that. That's a good point as well. Sometimes females just give up what they're physically attracted to just to have the inner qualities. And I'm not saying one is necessarily, way more important, which it is. Personality is very obviously important over looks. But at the same time, do you want to be with someone who you're not, physically attracted to either? I don't know if that would last. I mean, that can lead to a number of, other issues that I'd rather not get into tonight. But that can lead into a number of other things. So, like in life, period, it's finding balance. Someone that balances these good and bad qualities, looks and personality, chivalry. It's just finding someone that has the balance, and also you learning how to, to have balance, in your life, as well. And some other points I want to add. Some women, sometimes they choose these bad boys because they're afraid to be alone. They feel like they don't deserve better than what they have. And that's a big issue. I don't know if that's the same, for men, when they date certain type of women, feeling like they have to just take what they can get, that they can't get better, even though they're told that they can have better, and people look at them like they're crazy for dating this type of person, or even abuse, letting someone abuse you, because sometimes dating these bad boy types can lead to him showing his true colors of being abusive and controlling and things. And I'm not saying all bad boy types are like that. It's just that there's a lot of proof of that happening. A lot of men are very good at first, and then they turn. And I'm guessing the same thing can be true for women as well. Javon says, when you find a spiritual connection with someone, looks don't matter, that person is going to glow in your eyes. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Sometimes I've looked at people that I've dated as well, or been intimate with or whatever, and they may not necessarily been the most attractive person, but somehow I connected with them, like you said, spiritually, or they did something, like I said, their personality, something else they had that attracted me to them, that they didn't necessarily look like Morris Chestnut, Tyrese, or whoever, but somehow I was still attracted to them as though they did look like that. So a lot of times, like you said, a spiritual connection. And of course, a lot of times when you're intimate with someone too, you end up getting a spiritual connection. Sometimes it's with the person you wish you never was with, and now you can't disconnect from them. It's very hard to disconnect once you have that type of connection. So do you guys have anything else that you may want to add? I'm really appreciating all your comments. I'm glad I had both guys and girls on here, talking, about this topic of good girls dating, bad boys and bad girls with good guys. So I appreciate you guys again coming on, talking. I am learning and growing as well from these conversations with you guys. So, I'm learning. I'm still learning what type of, men that I want, but I am learning what I don't want more. So that's leading me to knowing what I do want. Scrap says, I'm a bad guy myself. Women love us because most of us keep it real. I can't speak for every man, but off experience, I learned that some women appreciate the loyalty and the love we give. Let me see. To put in. Ooh, I don't want to delete it. Let me see. Let me make sure I got that right. The love we give, to put in a nutshell, we give the same love we seek. Bad boys need love too. Yeah, I agree. Everyone needs a little bit of something, whether you want to admit to it or not. We all have certain needs and wants. And again, I feel like we all go through certain stages, different stages, where what you want, at 15, at 25, at 35, changes. And I think it's supposed to change. So Javon says that is why it's important to not rush sex, because you can be hooked on someone that's no good for you. And yeah, fortunately, I have that experience, and not too long ago, and I'm glad that I matured some in just the past few years, 2 or 3 years or so, that I've learned how to separate certain feelings. But it's best not to just if you can look at someone and tell that this is someone that you can't see yourself with long term, and that's what you're looking for. Now it's different if you're not looking for a long term relationship. If you are looking just for something casual, then yeah, that's fine to do. You are damaging yourself in the end. Trust me, I know about this. You are damaging yourself in the end, but it's very different when your mind is on having more. So that's why it's important that people establish what they want and need and their intentions right from the jump. But women sometimes, like I said, a man could tell us what he wants and needs, and as Scrap said, keep it real at first. But women, a man could tell us something, and then we, in our mind, we still feel like, oh, I can still change him. I can still, fix him. He can be my project, to work on. We still somehow in our mind think that just because a man says this is what he wants, that's what it's going to be. And we always think that months can go by, or we can do all these things, and as the things I mentioned earlier, changing up our morals and changing up things, trying to fit into his lifestyle and all that, we think that doing all these things and him going around saying we're together and stuff is going to change him. But of course, in the end, it doesn't. Javon says most women can disconnect their emotions from sex. I'm hoping you mean can't, because most of the women I know cannot disconnect their emotions from it. That's one of the biggest issues that we have as women, is that we connect everything to it. So it's very difficult for us to separate the two. Now there are some women who are able to to be intimate with someone and be able to cut it off. But a lot of us women, and I know for myself and talking to female friends and family, we get wrapped up once we are intimate with someone. Now if it's someone we don't really care to be with or whatever, then it might not matter as much. But a lot of times when we are with someone, it you know, we have that connection. It's very hard to break that whole spiritual connection, because for us, you know, we're intimate with someone, we're connected spiritually now with them, as they are to us, but it's different. It's very different for a woman. Oh, okay. Javon says I meant too sassy. Oh, how men and women love different. Yeah, we do. But I mean, on the same token, I feel like we're supposed to, you know, be different. And of course, it causes a lot of conflicts and things, but we're supposed to be different. I don't think men and women should love differently, or, you know, feel the same about everything, because there wouldn't be any yin and yang to life if we weren't different. But, you know, on the same token, I think, you know, as someone mentioned earlier, we all need love. That's something that we all share. Just a number of things we all want. You know, eventually, we all want someone to love us, someone to give, you know, loyalty and all those things. You know, we may want the bad boy, the bad girl at some point in life, but, you know, once you get to the point of you wanting to have children, if you don't have any, or if you have kids and you want, you know, something long term, you're not gonna find, you know, the bad girl, the, you know, bad boy type cute anymore. You know, so I think I'm pretty much finished for tonight. So again, if you guys have anything else you want to add, again, I'm on here each and every Monday, 7:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on my Facebook Live. I appreciate all of you guys who came on. You got some things for me to think about. I always save my videos and then I go on later and I put them on YouTube, my Quadria Brown YouTube page. So please subscribe to that, as well as to my Facebook Live. Again, thank you guys for coming on. I will be making my announcement tomorrow as to why I said I had a long day today. So appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.